Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to this week's show. This is High Strangeness and the Liminal Abyss, and I am your show host, SHETAN Noir. Now, this week, I was trying to decide what I wanted to talk about, and I saw a couple of interesting news articles. Actually, it wasn't the one was a video clip, one of those Facebook reels that you see on Facebook. And the other one was a report that I was reading. And both of them are very similar topics because they have to do with vibration frequencies and how they affect the human body. So the report that I read stated that cats purring can help heal osteoporosis. So when your cat lays on you and is purring, the vibration that's created by their purring is theorized to help with osteoporosis. And I think this is partly because they are purring and creating a vibration with that noise, but also if anybody out there if your cat's laid on you long enough, you know that they produce quite a bit of heat, which can be very helpful with any type of um, bone soreness or muscle soreness or anything of that nature. Now, the Facebook reel that I had watched, um, it was actually on beekeeping, which I found very, very interesting. And someday I would like to get into beekeeping. Um, but there's a lot involved with that. Um, First, you have to have a hive, and then you have to, have the honeycomb, storage area for all the bees to gather. You have to have a healthy queen. You have to be able to collect the honey, process or the honeycomb. You have to process it. So and you have to have the proper gear because you don't want to get stung every single day. And you have to have a location on your property which is far enough away from your neighbors so that their kids aren't getting stung or they're not getting stung when they're out doing things. So there's just a lot that goes into beekeeping, which is why I really haven't gone that route yet. It would be cool, fresh honey, but maybe within the next 2 years. I don't know. I have to do more research on it. But back to the video that I had watched, and these people, there was a small, um, I want to say almost like a shed, a cabin-like shed, and the people had built them in such a way that the honeycomb um, area that the bees will produce the beeswax and the royal jelly and the honey. Um, they had that hive contained within a section of these little tiny homes. And what they did is there was benches inside the tiny home. Probably wasn't a shed any bigger than probably like 5 by 8, but it was big enough for a adult person to lay down on these benches. And the honeycomb actually extends underneath the benches. Now it's totally enclosed. The bees can't get to you in any way at all. But because the bees produce so much heat with their vibrating and the vibration alone, the bees keep that structure well heated even in winter months. And the people were stating that it's almost like a sauna when you go in there because That's how bees keep themselves in their hives warm, is they are all vibrating their wings and they rotate. So the ones that are on the outside of the hive are only there for a short time, and then they start integrating their way into the middle of the hive, and those that are in the hive they crawl up and vibrate out. So it's a constant, um, almost revolving door of the bees interchanging themselves so that they're always producing heat, and that's how they keep the colony warm. But this system that they had was very interesting because they were using it as a therapeutic spa, and they would go out, and the heat produced inside of the little room was comfortable enough for them to be out there in just, pajama pants or in a t-shirt or a long sleeve shirt. But they're also saying how you could feel a vibration coming through the wood of the bench of the bees buzzes and humming and vibrating their wings, and that they would lay on the bench, and the buzzing and the vibration of that would help soothe a lot of their ailments. So it's interesting how we can use different vibrations that are created through nature, cats, bees, to actually help heal ourselves. But I'm going to talk about a drawback of vibrations and infrasound when we come back from this commercial break. Welcome back to the show. Now, I was just talking about how the vibration created from cats purring and from bees in a hive can actually be used for therapeutic healing in the human body. But there's the other side of that spectrum, and infrasound is a much or has a much different effect on animals and human beings. Now, in lions and tigers, alligators, crocodiles, even elephants and whales. Whales, it's more, they use sonar, but that's still a form of infrasound. They use the infrasound for different purposes. So elephants use it to call out to other members of their herd that they might have gotten separated from, or the males and females might bellow at each other to signal when they're courting and they're available, um, to go out and breed. The crocodiles and alligators, they also use that as a way to breed. So if you're ever at a alligator park or a zoo during the crocodilian breeding season, if you hear a rumble, it's probably one of the males, because they will come to the surface and the water all around them starts vibrating because of the infrasound that they're producing, and that carries through the water, it carries on to land, and it lets other females know, hey, I'm a big strong male, come breed with me. Now, in species like lions and tigers, infrasound works in a different way. They actually have found that lions and tigers use their roar, which produces infrasound, as a way to stun wild animals like the wildebeest, the zebras, the little gazelles. They use this as a way of not really doing a jump scare on those animals, but it kind of knocks the wind out of them and stuns them. And this is a way that they can run down those prey species. They stun them and then they chase after them. And usually, if they've done it right, not every hunt goes successfully. Not every hunt leads to a kill or a possibility of food. But if the lion or the tiger does it correctly, they can stun whatever they are hunting and get a closer distance to run it down and eat it. Now, in whales, dolphins, porpoises, they also use infrasound, but it's more of a vibration. And they talk to each other. Um, they all live in pods, and this is the way that either they hunt, they talk to their offspring, they find potential mates, and they use that infrasound as or that's sounds that they make, the whale calls, the different noises that we associate with cetaceans. They use this as a way of communicating and making their presence known um, to others of their kind. Now, it's also been documented and speculated that many cryptozoologists believe that at least Bigfoot uses infrasound. And that could be a reason why, when people have game trail cameras up, that the noise, either the rumble or the call that they make, might be what makes the infrared cameras blur. Because if technology is hit with a large enough vibration, it will disable it, which is pretty much what an EMP blast is. Um, if electronics get hit with an EMP blast, it pretty much wipes them out. So, have the Bigfoots been able to, through trial and error, figure out a way to use either a growl or a bellow or just a um, vibration that they can produce vocally to not only disable cameras, but also people often talk about when they are out in the woods and they get an uneasy feeling. They get a fearful feeling that just goes through them. And they say, oh, that's what told me to get out of the woods. Well, a lot of people who have been exposed to infrasound report those same feelings, that they suddenly feel very uneasy, very nauseous. They get pain going through their body, and it lasts for 12 hours on end. Um, there are a lot of ill side effects from infrasound. So it's an interesting observation that vibrations produced by our everyday common animals and maybe some not so common animals can either heal the human body or cause destruction to the human body. I don't know. What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear from you. And maybe at a future conference or Paracon, we can talk. But until next week, go out there and explore this crazy world and stay curious out there. Goodbye.